Hey everyone, this is kristamwest. I am the designer and owner of Avlea Folk Embroidery, and I am here at the H&H America's Trade Show. So I thought it would be really fun to do the June FlossTube from here. It will not be as long as my normal FlossTube because I am on my wheelie scooter for my broken foot, and so it's a little harder for me to get around. But I thought we'd start by just showing you the Avlea booth, and then I'll walk around and show you some super fun stuff. So those of you, I'm going to actually flip my camera around. Those of you, trade show, typical setup at a trade show is an 8x10, what's called a pipe and drape booth, which means that they give you the drapery, the black drapery that you see there, and then you can choose to rent anything else you want in your booth. You can rent carpeting or tables or furniture or all of that. Because I come all the way from Oregon and shipping's expensive, I do a pretty minimalist booth. So I have my little table set up with all of my samples. I don't bring everything, I just bring a small selection. And then I bring the embroidery wall. And this year I built this really great ribbon trellis. It weighs like 2 pounds. I was super proud of it. Oh hey, let's look at the ribbon wall real quick because I've got a couple of new things that are coming out that you can take a peek at. The one thing I'm gonna say, the caveat here, the lighting in here is terrible. It's this super awful like 6,000 Kelvin lighting, and it makes everything look like too yellow or too gray. So just keep that in mind. So first step is Clara's garden. So this is the, whoopsie, there we go. I'm gonna hold that up. This is the original Cycladian floral design that I worked in a new multicolored floss palette for my new granddaughter, who was born on Saturday. So very exciting. Right after H&H, I'm headed out to see them and help with the baby. So very excited. She's well, everything's great. Birth went really smoothly, so thank God, everything went really well. So this one I brought with me. I'll be releasing this as a new kit probably in July because I'm kind of excited about it and it's very summery. So I just got all the photos done and I will release that. You'll see down below it, Copper Branches. Copper Branches is a table runner. You're looking at half of it. It's a little hard for me to hold the camera and do this, but you're looking at half of it. And this is a really cool, really big new table runner. You can see it's pretty big. If I remember right, it's got to be like 20 inches wide at least, or maybe 21 when it's finished. And this motif is a historical motif from bed curtain valances in the Greek islands. And I kept a pretty traditional color palette. It's actually worked in 918 copper and then with 21 light alizarin. That is to mimic the successive dye baths of madder red dyes, where the first dye bath you get the rich terracotta-y coppery color, and then the successive dye baths it would get lighter and lighter until you get something like the alizarin. I also stuck with just very sort of traditional palette of olive greens, soft blues, and black. There's also the really cool birds. And I love this design because it's actually a very impressive table runner. It's these 3 motifs on one end and then also on the other end, so it's a mirrored table runner. And I love it because it actually is not a huge amount of stitching, but it's an impressive piece. For those of you who really lean towards the more sort of very traditional primitivistic style designs, this is a winner. It's great. Beneath that is Talsi Trellis. Now, some of you may remember this from a pomegranate collection. This design started out as a pomegranate collection design, and the original floss color I had chosen was the 347 Bright Coral. And when Cindy Russell stitched it, she used the dark rosewood, and I could not be happier with it. It was a fabulous choice. I just wish I was the person who had figured out to use the rosewood. But it's a really cool design. This one is from a vintage Latvian needlework booklet, and it's really unique among confronted table runners because of that grid design in the middle. So really great, lively energy, but in a monochromatic color palette. So those of you who like the monochromatic, although, I have to say, you could make this multicolored. You could, turn these little tree motifs, you could turn those into green, you could add different colors. You can also change this one out to the monochromatic color of your choice. You could do blue, you could do black for a really intense look. You could do an olive green on white Mikini. You could do a lot with this one. What else I'm trying to think. I don't think I have anything else new on the wall. A lot of these are some of our recent releases. So Sea of Light, released last winter. Ukrainian Tulips, right here. That released, I think it was January or February. Balkan Quartet, this is our newest release. So that just came out this month. You can see just a tiny bit of Louisa, which is one of our new basket cloths. Actually, I have the kit over here. I have the big one over here. So that's the Louisa basket cloth. Those are great for giving for gifts, and I'm really excited about those. Actually, the Hirschner's rep came by yesterday and we had a chat, and she's very interested in that. They want to add more basket cloths to their lineup, so that was kind of exciting. Peloponnesian Poppies is one of my newest table runner designs. Wait, I've done a lot of table runners recently. That, I think, is the newest one. So you can see that one. Those great Grecian urns. Oh, love a good urn. Dorian Leaves is an older design, but I really like it. It's honestly been a sleeper on the website, True Confessions, but I just love the energy of this motif. I want to work with it more. I don't know, there's just something about that starburst motif that just works for me. Maybe it's that I didn't choose the best colors for it. Maybe I'll rework it with new colors, but I still really love that. Thracian Forest, that's one that I did for Taproot magazine that just went onto the website a few months ago. And then, I know the other one. Iris's Paint Box is kind of our star of our show this year. So many of you have enjoyed that design. So it was really fun to bring it and show it off. And then a sneak peek, you're only gonna see this on FlossTube, is the new Posca basket design, which we'll be releasing I'll try and get that released before I leave for Greece. But this will be the 2024 Posca basket design, and I was really pleased with the design. I used an interrupted border technique where you only use a tiny bit of the border in the middle, and those corners are super heavy, but then you have this kind of lightness. It almost looks like a chain around the design. Love it. I'll definitely be doing more of that again. Well, enough of me. Let's go walk around for a bit. So basically, H&H is the largest trade show for the soft crafts industry in North America. It originally started in Cologne, Germany. My neighbors are actually do undyed yarn. There's all sorts of suppliers here from all over the world. At first, last year, it was almost predominantly knitting and yarn. And one of the reasons I decided to come, so I hope you can see that. Excuse me. One of the reasons I decided to come was because so many of the shops that carry Avlea kits are yarn stores. And that's because in a lot of smaller towns that don't have a LNS, a local needlework shop, the local yarn store will carry embroidery supplies, but they don't have the room or the cash flow to stock all of the inventory that a normal local needlework shop would. They don't have room for the floss racks. So they're always looking for kits. So that was something that was kind of a surprise to me. So it's been really fun. So the really cool thing is, years ago, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this in a FlossTube, but years ago, I taught at a local knitting store. And actually, I'm trying to give you a sense of this convention center. It is just massive. There are 11 aisles of vendors here. Let's go down this one. Number of years ago, I learned to knit. It's interesting, knitting was the last handicraft that I learned to do. I learned when I was 19. Pretty much everything else I learned as a kid. Crochet, a little bit of weaving, sewing, embroidery, all of that. Oh, look at these. Aren't these yarns just fabulous? Oh, and these little hanks. Love that. So many gorgeous sweater samples, people. Oh my gosh, the sweater samples, they just are slaying me. Tools and notions displayers are here. Companies from all over the world. Look at that dress. I have been admiring this dress every time I go down that aisle. It's fabulous. This one too. So years ago, actually, I used to knit like crazy. I love to knit. And I taught knitting, a couple of knitting classes at my local knitting store. And I started doing knitwear design. It was the very first thing that I did. And I had a little line of 5 knitting patterns called Miss Jane Knits, after Miss Jane Marple. Those of you who are Agatha Christie fans, look at that. Oh, so gorgeous. And so, let's see here. Okay, wow. Oh yeah, and see like all the sweaters. Can we just take a moment and appreciate all the sweaters? So many sweaters here, people. There's got to be like 1,000 sweaters here. Okay, here we go. And so for years, that was the first thing that I did, is I was actually doing my little knitwear designs on the side. And I probably sold some total of like 30 copies. Like that was it. It was not a big deal. Oh, there's also fabric. We're going to go down here, and there's a lot more fabric suppliers here. Robert Kaufman, who we use for all of our cushion back covers and our embroidery hoop kits, is here as well. Let's see. Oh, we've got people who do really cool techie things, like ways to like photograph your making. Publishers are here. Magazines are here. It's just huge. So that was my very first intro into designing, was actually doing knitwear. So I have to say, it's a little bit, I have to be really careful here and like not buy yarn, because it's very tempting. I'm like, no, samples to stitch. I have samples to stitch. Oh, then the other thing that there's a lot more of this year are quilts. A lot more quilts this year. So there's some really amazing quilt displays. Look at that. Isn't that fabulous? Lots of great quilting displays. I love having the quilting with knitting. And what I'm really hearing here, and that's the other thing too, is attending here. Oh wait, I got to show you these super cute little crocheted things. So first off, crochet is having a huge moment, but you have to look at these little guys. Aren't they just adorable? They're so adorable. Look at the little fruits. The mermaid. Okay, love the mermaid. Oh, and notice a little crochet quiet book, kind of like our Byzantine beasts. So I think those are definitely having a moment. Crochet is really coming back in a very big way, especially among younger crafters. A lot of younger crafters are coming in to craft through the crochet door, and I think that's fantastic. I mean, you know me, anything that's crafting is good for me. So I just want everybody to craft. Oh my gosh, you have to look at these. These are beautiful. So these are like hand-dyed or variegated flosses, pearl cotton, things like that. Aren't those beautiful? And let's see. So, but one of the things that I am really hearing I had probably 4 conversations with shop owners, and it was interesting because we were chatting about, oh, I love this poncho. Isn't that fabulous? Sorry guys, I'm just going to constantly interrupt myself this whole FlossTube because there's just so much great stuff. But one of the things that I was so excited to hear in the, let's see what there is. Let's find a really interesting aisle. Oh yeah, look at these sweaters. Oh, more sweaters. So is that there is just people in the crafting community are realizing, or well, it's not like they're realizing, but they're really leaning in. Oh, another great sweater. Oh, look at that one. They're really leaning in. Oh my gosh. Okay, look at this one with the colors. That is so cool. They're really leaning into the idea that a rising tide lifts all boats. That basically, if one of us does well, all of us does well. And it's one of the things that I particularly like about the crafting industry. Oh, that's a really interesting quilt. Is that we are really, the best people in the craft industry are not competitive. We're not competing. We're looking to be inspired by each other. We all know that there is plenty of business to go around, and everyone is really working together to lift up our whole industry. And that makes me so excited because I really feel like that's the direction that we need to be going in. So I heard it in the State of the Industry panel yesterday. That's a hour-long presentation where they interview 4 people that are in the craft industry and kind of get their take on where things are in the market. And I heard that several times, is how important it was to build community. And so that there really is a symbiotic relationship between e-commerce businesses and brick and mortar shops, that we need both. The e-commerce businesses like Avlea's website are just, Harris Help Heal Vets. Okay, so everybody knows we support them with our craft donation program. So that's awesome. Sorry, yesterday was so busy I didn't get a huge amount of time to walk the floor, so I'm flying a little blind here, people. Oh, then I have to take you by Fashion Row because this is really fun. So that whole idea that we all work together and we all make each other better is just, I just couldn't be more excited about that. It brings a whole level of joy and peace to the whole industry that I think is really important that we put that into our crafting. So I'll step off my soapbox for right now and let's walk through. Okay, so Fashion Row is this whole row of costumes that are on display. And this year the theme was cosplay. So this is Taylor Swift's tour gown. This is all crocheted. This is low pony cosplay. I don't recognize some of these things, but you have to admire the craftsmanship. This is Zelda. This is Doctor Strange from the Marvel Universe. Whoa. Din DeJaren. I know my kids are going to say, you didn't say that right, Mom. But there we go. Oh, and here we have a very interesting character. We have more amazing costumes. Okay, but here's the thing. Look at those. The detailing. Wow. Wow. That hair. Woo. Okay, but here, my very, very favorite is Wonder Woman. It is crochet Wonder Woman. Whew. People, I feel like I have a new life goal. I wouldn't look like that in the Wonder Woman costume, but I really have to love the crochet Wonder Woman costume. So impressive. So, we are going to have to wrap this up because I have to open my booth in just a minute. But I just wanted to give you guys kind of an overview of H&H and what an interesting show this is. It's actually significantly larger than last year. Last year was its first year, and there are now 27% more exhibitors this year, and there are over 2,500 attendees. And I'm going to turn the camera around. Sorry about the weird camera angles, but get it on the fly video. So the really great thing for me was yesterday I got to spend the day just meeting shop owners who I had only ever seen their name come in on an order through Fair or through the website, and I hadn't met them in person. And it was really good feedback because for example, I'm showing all of my kits in the clear bags here at the show so people can see them. But everyone knows we ship out in glassine envelopes because I'm really committed to eco-friendly packaging. And I was a little worried about that with shops. And so it's been really great for me to ask shops okay, well, if you want plastic, we'll put them in plastic. We can do that. But we do glassine. And I had one shop who was like, oh no, that was a major selling point was that, we only bring in designers and makers, kits who are in eco-friendly packaging. So that was really great to hear. And we had a really great conversation. And I love hearing what all the shop owners are doing and where they're from in the country. I talked to people from Connecticut and Kentucky and Houston and gosh, all over Montana, California, all over yesterday, Ohio, New Hampshire. And so it's just really fun. Most of us as makers, we live this life that is a smidge isolated because we're in our workshops, we're designing, we're shipping out kits, we're small business owners, we're wearing all the hats. We don't get out much. And here, it's we're all here. And I feel like we are a very grateful tribe to be together. And there's also a really happy energy here post-COVID that everyone's here and very few people have to mask. And there's not that sense of concern and safety about your personal safety. And I'm really enjoying that. It was actually really nice to hug people. And I'm not a hugger, and generally speaking. But I was it was oh, hey, how are you? So nice to meet you. Can I give you a hug? Because we're just so happy to be together. Because I think so many of us, I know this is true for myself, but I have such joy in the work that I do. And it daily makes me happy to be able to do this work and that people want to be reviving folk embroidery with me. It's a dream come true for me. And I see so many other people in other aspects of the knitting world, the fabric world, the quilting world, and they feel the same way about their businesses. And that's just a very, very inspiring thing to be a part of. So, to wrap up, I didn't even give you any of my thanks, but honestly, I'll put this on YouTube. You guys know where to find me. You can find all my stuff at the Avlea website, www.avlea, A-V-L-E-A, I don't have a sign, .com. On Instagram, it's under my name. I know, annoying, but I did know to set it up correctly when I did it. kristamwest. And I'll put all that in the notes if I can figure out how to do that on my phone here on the fly. And after this, I am actually, like I said, I've got another couple days here, and then I'm headed to Boston to be with my daughter and the new baby. Oh, baby Clara. I love that name. They haven't picked a middle name. I'm still waiting to hear, so I'm kind of curious about that. And then I will be back in the shop. But while I'm gone, Pamela and my youngest daughter, Georgia, are manning things at the shop. Oh, and great news. Georgia texted me yesterday, and she got a bunch more designs stamped on the Avlea work bag. So those of you, I've had quite a few of you ask me, okay, so you know the little Avlea work bag. There we go. We've only ever had it with the Thessaly floral design on it, but this is from when we used to hand stamp all of the embroidery kits before I switched to digital printing. I still have all those stamps. And so Georgia spent all day yesterday stamping a whole bunch more designs. And I think I can probably figure out how to get those on the website. There won't be pictures yet, but I can at least get that option up. And so I can't remember which ones she did, but I believe it's Aegean, Sunrise, Pennsylvania Posy, and maybe Arcadian Rose. So there'll be more choices on the work bags. So thank you so much for joining me in this brief little tour of a very fun event. And I look forward to this all year. Can you tell I'm a smidge excited? And I just want to wish you all happy stitching and to have a really, really great week. Take care.